Welcome back, students. I hope you did well on the first exam, and I hope you did well on the second one. We're launching into kind of the second half of our class as we're into week 5 here. And I want to make a couple of quick comments. Number one, make sure you freeze the screen, copy down everything before you proceed. Number two, make sure you do your homework. It's practice that makes you actually learn it so you can actually do well on it on a test. And number three, be sure to ask questions. If you have problems, be real specific and contact me, okay? I'm here for you to succeed and be successful. And so here we go. All right, working with units of measurements. This is a little mini lesson that's going to lead up to back to geometry, but we need to kind of know how to turn, if we have a whole bunch of inches, how to turn that into feet, or a whole bunch of feet, how to turn it into yards. And you'll see as we proceed. But I've got a question here. Question number one on the screen, it's in green. It says, express 6 yards in feet. Okay. Now, I want you to note that on page 78 of your textbook here, you've actually got a conversion chart. So on page 78, you'll have a chart you can look at, and it'll say that 1 foot equals, 12 inches, and 1 yard equals 3 feet. And it'll go all the way up to a mile, tell you how many feet there are in a mile. So use that chart, and you can use it in homework. You can use it on the test. It's fine. Okay. So in this case, if it wants to know how many yards, 6 yards, how many feet that is, you can rewrite it as 6 yards equals how many feet here for step one. And then 6 times 3, because there are 3 feet in a yard. So 6 times 3 is 18 feet. So there's your answer to the first question, number one. You're just going to multiply how many feet there are in a yard, which is 3 times how many yards you have. Okay. Question number two, express 7 feet in inches. Okay. Step one, 7 feet equals how many inches? That's what I'm rewriting the problem. Okay. Well, 7 times 12, because each 1 foot has 12 inches. So if I multiply that 7 feet times the 12 inches there are, I get 84 inches. And so there's my total. Okay. Question three, write 17 inches as feet and inches. Okay. So step one, we've kind of rewritten the problem. 17 inches equals feet plus inches. Okay. Step two, since 1 inch is 1/12 of a foot. Okay, now that gets a little bit tricky now because we're talking about fractions. So this is the fraction 1/12 here, okay, that I've got here on the screen here. If I multiply the 17 inches by 1/12, I get 1 and 5/12 feet, okay? Therefore, it's 1 foot and 5, there's 5 left over, 5 inches left over, okay? So um, what might be helpful if you look in your textbook, I think it's on page 70. Yeah, it's on the bottom of page 78. You will see some sample questions like this, and it actually does it for you. So you can kind of see how to do that, lays that out real simply for you. So, all right, I'm going to go to my next slide. And we're going to talk about multiply feet. Here's a question number 4. Multiply or simplify, 4 feet and 27 inches. Okay. So if I was kind of rewriting this out, we got 4 feet here plus, that's a plus 27 inches. Okay. And what am I going to do? Here's kind of how I do this in my head. This is inches here. So I've got 4 feet here. I know I've got 4 feet. I'm going to bring that down. Okay. Now I'm going to look at 27 inches. All right. I know that 1 foot is 12 inches, right? So how many times does 12 go into 27? Okay. 12 goes into 27 2 times because, 2 times 12 is 24. Okay. If you don't know your times tables in your head, you should. But if you don't, you could use a calculator and you could just go like this 27. Come on, Ben. 27 divided by 12 on your calculator. And what you're going to get is it goes into it 2, and then there's a remainder. There's something left over. Okay. So 12 goes into it two times. So there's 2 feet here. Okay. And then it goes into 24 two times. Well, what's the difference between 24 and 27 inches? It's 3 inches. There's three left over, basically. When you do this here on your calculator, you're going to see zero point 0.3 or something like that. So there's 3 inches left. Okay. So now we're not quite done here. I'm going to add a third step here because this is where some people get the wrong answer. They think, oh, I'm done. It's 2 feet, 3 inches. Okay. Well, I need to take my original 4 feet plus the 2 feet that I got by dividing 12 into it. So I now have 6 feet and 3 inches left over. Okay. So that's how you convert, feet to inches and yards to feet, etc. And again, look at the chart. I want you to stop the video and do the problems on pages 78 and 79 of your textbook. And so stop the video, do those problems on 78 and 79, and then we'll continue. All right. Basically, we're doing the same thing here. We're working with metric lengths, which is what they use in much of the rest of the world. But we in America still use our feet, inches, inches, feet, yards, etc., and miles. But in most of the rest of the world, they use some form of a metric system. And again, we've got a chart on page 80 that kind of shows you how to convert, what a meter is, what a millimeter is, a centimeter, a kilometer, and so you can just look at that chart both in your homework and on the test. Okay. So question 5 here is change 2 centimeters to millimeters. Okay. Well, on our chart, we can look at a millimeter here, and it actually says how much a millimeter is. It's 0.01 of a centimeter, but 2 centimeters times 10 millimeters, okay, gives me 20 millimeters. So I could solve it simply by like that, just 2 centimeters times 10, because there are in a millimeter, we've got it's 0.1s of a centimeter. So um, I'm going to move on to question 6 here. Change 5 meters, 5 m. And by the way, that's these little M stands for equals for meters, okay, in case that's confusing you. And the cm stands for centimeters. So change 5 meters to centimeters, okay. Well, if you look in the chart, you'll see that a centimeter, a meter is 100 centimeters. Okay, it says it right on their chart. 1 meter equals 100 centimeters. It's towards the bottom of that chart. So if I multiply my 5 times my 100, I get 500 centimeters. Okay, so that's the process you're going to follow through. Question 7: change 3 kilometers, okay, or kilometers to meters. Okay. Well, a kilometer is 1,000 meter is 1,000. It says it right on the chart. It's 1,000 meters. Okay, so that's the bottom part of that chart here. So if I take my 3 kilometers times 1,000, I get 3,000 meters. Okay. All right. So that's working with that. Moving right on to the next slide. Another problem, simplify. Now you're going to see this word simplify at the top in question 8 here. And again, be sure and stop this slideshow and copy this stuff down first, okay? But question 8 means simplify 7 centimeters and 29 meters, or millimeters, excuse me. So millimeters, if you look at the chart here, step 1, the millimeter equals 0.1 centimeters. It says it right on the chart. So I'm going to take my 29 millimeters that I have, and I'm going to multiply it. I'm going to go down here. I'm going to multiply my 29 millimeters times 0.1, and I'm going to get 2.9, okay, centimeters. All right. Step 3 is to take my original 7 centimeters, which is going to be down here, okay, and add my new 2.9 centimeters, and I can get 9 centimeters, and there's 9 millimeters left over. So that would be my answer. And then question nine, simplify, which means convert it to 9 meters and 368 centimeters. Okay. Well, 1 meter here, talking about this unit here, the 1 meter here, according to our chart, is 100 centimeters. Okay. Now this is where it might look a little bit tricky. So if I divide the 368 centimeters I have, notice I'm dividing now. I'm dividing it because I'm finding out I'm trying to find out how many meters this is. I've got 368. If I divide it by 100, that gives me 3.68 meters. Okay. So I can take my original 9 meters in step three, add it to my 3.68 meters, and that gives me 12 meters. But there's that 0.68. So it's 12 meters and 68 centimeters would be my final answer. So the homework is on page 81, and I want you to do all the homework on that page before moving on with this video. And so pause it. And the last concept I want to talk to you about is adding and subtracting lengths, because you're going to have a little bit of homework in this. And by the way, this is what's going to really directly relate to your geometry, which is coming up in the next day. So if I have a problem like practice one here, where I've got 6 feet plus 3 feet plus 4 feet, but it's 6 feet 8 inches and 3 feet 6 inches and 4 feet 3 inches. Okay. And they want you to add all that up. Okay. So what you're going to do is add up all your inches first here, on just like you would do in a normal problem. You know, if I had, for instance, 21 plus 22, I would start here on the right hand side and get 3 and a 4. Okay. So we're going to start on the right hand side, add up all of our inches and get 17 inches. Okay. And then we're going to add up all of our feet, 3, 6, and 4, and get 13 feet. All right. Now, already in your head, hopefully you're starting to think of feet and inches. There's 12 inches in a foot, okay? But I got 17 inches left over. Well, I've got 13 feet, okay, plus I've got if I divide 12 into 17, that gives me 1 and 5/12 is left over here, okay? So if I take the 13 plus the 1, that gives me 14 feet. And then there's five left over here, 5 inches left over. Okay. So let's go on to another question here. Now we've got a subtraction problem. This is where it gets a little bit tricky, both when you're working with fractions and when you're working with different units of measurement. So it's not hard, but I want to show you something. Make sure you don't miss out on something. I've got 5 feet 2 inches minus 3 feet 9 inches. Okay. So over here to the right, I've rewritten the problem, but I've changed colors here to show you my borrowing process. I can't subtract 9 from 2, so I got to borrow from the 5. And that's why I crossed out my 5 and put a 4 above it there. Okay. Now, this is the little tricky part. I'm borrowing 1 foot, but I'm trying to convert it to inches here on the right of this problem here. So where I've got my arrow pointing here, okay? If I borrow 1 foot, I'm not just borrowing 1, I'm borrowing actually 12 inches, aren't I? Okay. So that's where this magical 14 here in pink came from, was if I have 2 inches plus 12 inches, it now becomes 14 inches. Okay, so let me say that one more time real quick. I'm borrowing from the 5 on the left here, and so that becomes a 4 feet, but I'm bringing 1 over, but it's a foot. I'm bringing over to the inches, and the foot is 12 inches. So 2 plus 4, 12 is 14. All right, now I can subtract 9 from 14, and I get 5 inches, and 3 from 4 feet is 1 foot, 5 inches. Okay, all right, practice 3. We've got yards. Now we've got multiplication. Okay, this is times. So I've got 3 yards and 2 feet times 6. All right, I'm going to take in 6 times 2 and give me 12 feet. 6 times 3 is going to give me 18 yards. Okay, but 12 feet is how many yards? Well, there's 3 feet in a yard, so 3 goes into 12 4 times. So I've got 18 plus 4 is 22 yards total. here. Okay. So I'll go say again here. I'm going to go back to this 12. I've got feet. I'm going to convert them to yards. 12 feet, well, 3 feet goes into a yard. So if I divide 3 into 12, it goes into it 4 times. Okay. All right. I want you for homework to only do the odd rows, 1, 3, 5, and 7 on page 83 of your textbook, but do just one per row. Okay. Then complete rows 1 and 3 on page 85, doing just 2 per row. So again, just follow that orange post-it note I put on the screen here for your homework. And again, if you have any questions, please be really specific, send me an email, and I will be glad to help you out.